There was a couple that had been married for 15 years, and they had a lot of disagreements. And they decided they were going to try to deal with those disagreements by getting them out in the open. And so they had a box, which they called the fault box. And every day, if the other person had a fault, you weren't going to talk to them about it. You just would write it on a slip of paper and put your irritation that you had with this person in that box. All through the month, they did this. And the wife was very diligent about making sure her irritations were put in that box. She had things in there, like he would left the lid off the jelly jar, which I've never done. Wet towel on the shower floor. Dirty socks left on the floor, and you can just see where we're going with all that. There could be a lot of those, and I know you're building your list now in your mind. At the end of the month, they took the box, they went out to dinner, and they decided they would exchange the box. They had two boxes, one for each other. They exchanged the boxes that they had for one another. And the husband began reading, and he went through all these things and many more that were there. The wife took her box. And as she took her box, she began to pull out the slips of paper. And to her amazement, every slip of paper said, I love you. I love you. What a good husband, huh? I love you. I love you. All that we have done, all that we represent to offend the holiness of God, and yet, I love you. I love you. It continually resonates back. And when you look at Christ on the cross, when you look at what God did in his holiness, sending his righteous Son to be exposed to what he was exposed to, it shouts it beyond any loudness that we could ever make and imagine that God loves us. In spite of who we were, in spite of all that we represented, God loved us that much. Verse 9 says, much more then, having now been justified by his blood, we shall be saved from the wrath of God through him.